For Democrats, politics has become showtime.
We won't go back.
On Tuesday, 17 House Democrats, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, staged a made-for-Instagram arrest outside the Supreme Court, protesting against last month's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Just hours later, the January 6th committee investigating the invasion of the Capitol by Trump supporters went prime time.
You better run, cops!
And let no one doubt it, January 6th, 2021 was an event whose notoriety makes political ramifications unavoidable. But sitting in the not-so-distant memory is an event of similar political consequence, the summer of 2020.
How long do you think Seattle in those few blocks looks like this?
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
Ms. Durkin aside, no one's going to mistake the summer of love with the summer of 2020, for which, following the death of George Floyd, protests broke out across the country. Their effect was to permanently alter the Democratic Party's basic political model, moving it away from traditional legislative politics and toward the uncompromising strategy of activism in the streets.
I never strung anybody along. I was the first one to raise the alarm on inflation.
2 years on, and with a Senate that's split 50-50, the central preoccupation of American politics has been West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin's denial of the vote needed by the Democrats to enact their spending and climate policies.
It's frustrating, but it's kind of predictable.
You cannot trust what he says.
I hope no one is naive enough to believe this latest Lucy in the Football episode with Senator Manchin.
Senator Manchin represents a state synonymous with coal mines. In what political galaxy would anyone expect a senator from West Virginia to vote for his party's intention to terminate fossil fuel production? Yet last week, the party and its climate allies went berserk when Senator Manchin sank their agenda for the umpteenth time.
The people that are criticizing me, my own colleagues, I understand that. I understand their aspirations. I understand where they're coming from. I'm worried about the person that can't feed their family, who can't basically put gas in their car to go to work, and having a hard time paying utility bills, which is a necessity. So I'm sorry, if they don't care about that, I do. I'm more concerned about that.
After Senator Manchin withdrew his support for the climate legislation, citing opposition to new taxes and inflation, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse tweeted,
"With legislative climate options now closed, it's now time for executive beast mode."
Under a new, unchecked and unbalanced constitutional system called executive beast mode, President Biden would declare a national emergency on both abortion and climate.
As president, I'll use my executive powers to combat the climate crisis in the absence of congressional action.
Indeed, the post-2020 Democratic Party's theory of politics appears to be the system no longer works, so blow it up by issuing presidential executive orders on climate, education, guns, and abortion, ending the legislative filibuster, and packing the Supreme Court. Cliches in politics exist because they're true. Don't promise what you cannot deliver. Politics is the art of the possible.
Yes, I called for him to create a climate emergency, call for it, and I still believe that.
Senator Chuck Schumer knew these realities before he was out of the 6th grade in Brooklyn. Tragically, the progressive coterie to which the majority leader now pays obeisance doesn't know any of this, because teachers from grade school through university have tutored them in the non-negotiable demand.
Mr. Fossil Fuel Industry in the Senate? How is he the one making the decision about climate investment?
We're going to have to just elect a couple more Democrats who will overturn the filibuster, who will fight for working people and not for oil companies.
These tactics do produce publicity, such as Representative Ocasio-Cortez's fake handcuffed pose Tuesday. But a problem remains. It is not sustainable. In fact, according to the Washington Post, it's pushing college-age Democrats away from politics. That's the familiar result of displacing the unavoidably incremental progress of real politics with an anti-politics. Losing one's mind every day over January 6th, abortion, or Joe Manchin may be what professional Democrats do for a living now. The rest of the country is still looking for that promised but undelivered new normal.